Right, this is our fourth piece of prehistory art. It is the running horned woman found in Tassili in Alger, Alger in Algeria in northern Africa. She's a badass. We rarely have art featuring powerful women, and so the early prehistory art does show women as equal or honored. Let's do honored features of a society. So pretty cool to see. Oh, I didn't share my screen. Here, I'm going to share the screen. Here it is. So it is pigment on rock. Pretty amazing piece. Here it is, found right here in northern Africa. Let me give you a close-up, more of a close-up view. It is in what today is the Sahara Desert, but it's in a national park. It is protected. There is a lot of rock art in this region. Thousands and thousands of rock art pieces in Africa. Context. This would have been a savanna. The Sahara Desert, you probably know, one of the largest deserts on the planet. But thousands of years ago, so probably 10,000 years ago when this rock art would have been created, this was likely a savanna where people grazed animals, and yet over time it has turned to desert. It is an area of a lot of chasms, and you can see here close up people going through these chasms. So the chasms would have existed when it was a savanna too. The form and context of the running horned woman is that it is created with a pigment. A pigment is a colorant that's used in paint, suspended in paint. Like if you put pigment in water, you can paint with it with a brush. In this case, then, the pigment is a more, I guess, dense, that's probably not the right word, but more pure colorant, and it is applied on this rock wall. But it is, you can see here on the left, this is the original artwork, and what we have in our set is a reconstruction of it so that we can see it more easily. But the original work over thousands of years would deteriorate a bit. It was discovered in, oh gosh, I'm going to get it wrong, but it was perhaps early 1900s. And then Europeans, it was discovered by Europeans. It was known before that. But when the first European, was brought to it, oh, wow, that's really cool. To make it more visible, they put water on it, which of course would wash away some of the pigment, but would also make the contrasts between the rock and the pigment more distinct, more easily viewed. And so more and more people visited this site, did that same action of applying water to make it more visible. And so obviously it deteriorated over time. So what we have in our set, thankfully, is a nice reconstruction of this incredible piece of art. The form of it. So what do we see? How could we describe this? Describing art is just a vital part of our job this year. So hopefully you can see, or I'll point out and it'll be, oh, aha. This is a composite view. We see the side view of this woman running, yet at the same time we see the top of her torso. It's like she's running. So you get the idea. We have a composite view, and then her head is kind of turned to the side as well. And she's shown with diagonal lines. You can see these white string-like bits that are not just perfectly up and down, they show some movement to them. So they give us action. She's adorned with decoration, clearly, and you can compare her body, much larger body, to any of the other bodies around her. And while the other bodies around her may have, like, here's like an arm bracelet, this figure that we're looking at has got lots of body paint. There's like white dots going on, perhaps, and then those lines are decoration, likely with raffia. And we see here an oversized horn placed on her head or on the back side of her head. And we've got these white dots with fringe somehow around the horn. And then we have multiple people that I mentioned. She is more ornate, but these are less ornate. So that's the form. That's what we see. This is not the only piece in this region that shows the dots and the lines on figures. We see that here. These are likely women. And we also see them in motion, their arms kind of moving. Interesting thing here, look at their legs. Perhaps they're walking, but our woman is definitely in the running pose. North Central cross country candidate, I'd say. Okay, function. Again, prehistory, we don't have written record, so we're not quite sure what the function is, but we can make some educated guesses here, or we can at least describe what we know. And the description would be that she is created in a really secluded spot. You saw that original picture of the Tassili in Azure National Park. Her carving or painting, excuse me, is in a very discreet place that you'd have to wind through others to get to. Furthermore, she is decorated, highly decorated, very beautiful, completely finished. You know what I mean? There's no detail left untouched here in comparison to the other figures next to her and in other places in the national park. We have dots on her body, probably scarification, which is a part of the cultures at this time. And then we're left to presume, maybe take a guess, is this a goddess? Is there some ritual or ceremony that happens near this site, near her? Because she definitely looks like, we're kind of pulling out all the stops. So this is the running horned woman. Love her.